Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation communicated to the British envoy in Moscow that Russia is fully prepared and willing to launch military strikes on British targets if necessary. This is an entirely new statement. It was a reaction to another crucial statement that also has a profound impact on the course of the war and brings about significant changes in the ongoing conflict. The recent statement issued by David Cameron, the Foreign Secretary of the United Kingdom, emphasized that Ukraine has the capability to employ British weapons in order to strike the territory of the Russian Federation if necessary and deemed appropriate in the context of the ongoing situation. In Moscow, it was stated in response that Russia had the capability to launch military strikes on targets located in the United Kingdom, within the territory of Ukraine, as well as beyond the borders of Ukrainian territory. What is this? Is it a declaration of war? Can Russia strike London? Is Russia capable of launching an attack on London? Is Russia not afraid of the consequences of its actions? Let's figure it out. In point of fact, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation does not directly specify what Russia's potential retaliatory actions could be in the event of Ukraine launching strikes on Russian military targets using weaponry provided by the British government during a conflict between the two nations. There are no military targets belonging to the British Armed Forces on the territory of Ukraine. Russia is currently conducting strikes on Ukrainian territory using cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, and unmanned aerial vehicles, drones. Furthermore, when employing its weapons, Russia does not utilize equipment that is of its own production or manufacture, but instead relies on external sources for its weaponry. Weapons manufactured by Iran and North Korea are frequently utilized. However, up until now, nobody in Kyiv has ever mentioned the possibility of retaliatory strikes on the territory of any of these countries. The territory governed by the monarch of the United Kingdom is not mentioned whatsoever in the statement issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russia. What is the significance of British military targets that are located outside the territory of Ukraine, and what do they signify? The Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, Sergei Lavrov, most likely will not be able to provide an answer to this question today. The primary responsibility of Russian diplomats is to create an impact to intimidate the Western countries. But perhaps the United Kingdom is not the best target for such a propaganda campaign. During the planning of the attack on Ukraine, the Kremlin could be confident that the Russian leadership would have the assurance that member countries of NATO would not take part in the war. In Russia, there was a general anticipation that Ukraine would not be provided with contemporary Western weaponry and would consequently be vulnerable to the Russian military forces. When Russia poses threats to countries like Poland, Latvia, or Estonia, Moscow endeavors to create the impression of an unresolved issue regarding the provision of assistance to these nations, thereby instilling a sense of uncertainty and vulnerability in the region. Will the NATO alliance be prepared to engage in open conflict with Russia if its troops launch an attack on Poland or Latvia, two member states of the organization that are located in Eastern Europe? There is no answer to this question simply because thus far no NATO country has been subjected to external aggression or any form of hostile attack from an external source. And it is possible that Russia may try to create an impression of vulnerability among the countries located in the region of Central Europe. Undoubtedly, additionally, with the objective of making adjustments to their foreign policy and enhancing their readiness to provide assistance to Ukraine in its ongoing war with the Russian Federation. Nevertheless, the UK has the capability to defend itself autonomously in the event of any aggressive attack from Russia without relying on external assistance. In the UK, there is no need to wait for the activation of the relevant article of the NATO treaty. This differs from other countries where such waiting period may be required. In the UK, just like Russia, is a country that possesses nuclear power and capabilities. If Russia does indeed decide to strike British military targets on the territory of the United Kingdom itself, a strike in response may very well be carried out by the United Kingdom or its allies in order to defend their interests and protect national security. And this has the potential to be a significantly more serious and devastating blow than the impact that will be delivered by the Russian Federation. And let's not forget the most important aspect of this story, the special relationship that exists between the United Kingdom and the United States, which is of great significance. Russia comprehends perfectly well the risks it is taking. And most importantly, it has a definite understanding that it will be unable to utilize the capabilities of its ground forces with certainty and without any doubt. This is also an important factor, which of course turns any threats from Moscow into more of a propaganda ploy, thereby amplifying the impact and significance of these threats in order to manipulate public perception. Russia will exercise restraint and abstain from launching attacks on any British military targets. The aim of Russia is simply for the government of the United Kingdom to completely abandon the idea of using its weapons to strike any targets located on the territory of the Russian Federation, as this is a matter of utmost importance and concern for the Russian government and its people. Furthermore, it is crucial to highlight another significant factor. British weapons have already been used on multiple occasions to strike the territory that the Kremlin views as Russian territory, thus intensifying the already tense situation between the two nations. Subsequent to these strikes, there was no immediate reaction or response observed from either the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation in relation to the matter at hand. And here it should be understood, either the Kremlin believes that the occupied territories of Ukraine, which are illegally annexed to the Russian Federation, are still not recognized as a legitimate part of the Russian state. The threats that were conveyed to the British ambassador in Moscow today are nothing more than mere acts of propaganda and should be seen as such. And it is evident that Russia will undoubtedly seek to escalate the boiling point of the conflict with each new day and with each new month in an effort to heighten tensions and prolong the duration of the ongoing dispute as part of their strategic objectives and tactics in this protracted conflict. Because the resources of Russia are not unlimited either, and because engaging in a confrontation with the Western countries is not advantageous for the economy of Russia. Thus, the Kremlin desires to bring the war to a swift conclusion while also striving to achieve success in this conflict as expeditiously as possible. And given that there is no such event taking place, direct threats to the allies of Ukraine begin to emerge and pose a significant concern. Thank you, friends. Please stay tuned to this channel, subscribe to it, make use of its sponsorship and support features. Wishing you all the best of luck.